Okay, this is a video about something that we've been working on kind of right along, but we're going to kind of formalize it today, called the design process. And this thing is actually like a cyclical process, so it kind of goes at a starting point and it kind of goes in a circle. So the first thing that we do is we define the problem, which means that we're looking for the features or requirements that if we're developing a technology, it will be able to solve that problem. Okay. We also have to take a look at our constraints. What is the cost, time, and materials to be able to do that? Okay, so the second thing that we've got going on here is we have to do research. Not every problem is new, and some of them have known solutions. So if there is a known solution or a technology that exists to solve our problem, we don't want to reinvent that technology. Furthermore, we want to look at what are also related information. So there may be problems that are similar to ours that have already been solved that we can use that information and begin to solve our own problem. Okay, so the next move here is that we develop possible solutions. So this is the part of the cycle that tends to get called brainstorming. We want to propose a lot of possible solutions, a lot of things that we think could possibly solve the problem to choose from. So we don't want just one possible solution, but we want a bunch of them. So our next thing is to choose the best solution. Okay. So given our list of possible solutions, what's the best one that we came up with? So we're going to look at which one meets the requirements of the problem while also living within the constraints, and that's the one we're going to go with. All right, so once we pick that best solution, we're coming up with a prototype. So a prototype is a full-scale working model. Okay, so we're going to try it, and we're going to use this to test to see if this best solution does in fact meet the requirements that we identified when we defined the problem. Now note, prototypes rarely work on the first test. Okay, so that's something we have to contend with. All right, so the next thing that we do is we test and evaluate. All right, so we try our prototype out. We say, does it actually meet the requirements to be a solution, and does it live within the constraints? So once we have done that, we communicate. Okay, so either we're going to communicate to the world that we have a solution and here it is, please use our technology, or we're going to communicate to our design team and say we don't have a solution yet, these are the requirements we did not meet, or this is the constraint that we ran over, we need to redefine. And then we get into redesigning. So, redesign. So, honestly, whether you have a solution or not, you're going to redesign. If you don't have a solution, you have to look at it and say, okay, I'm going to go back through this whole thing. So until I have met all the requirements and have lived within the constraints, or even if you do have a solution, you're going to redesign because you're either going to say, okay, how do I make this better? What requirement could I add or what constraint could I meet that didn't meet in my original definition of the problem? So every single product, even one that is a success for the original definition of the problem, can go through a redesign process to meet a much more rigorous problem. So this cycle continues no matter whether you reach a success or not. And it always starts back with defining the problem. Now, sometimes you can go through some of these steps rather quickly and get back to the prototyping and testing and evaluating, but this is generally speaking the process that a good design should go through before we accept or reject it. Thanks.